the fun. But we do have a quorum, although I think we're also expecting Horvath to sign in at some point, hopefully. But we do have a quorum, so we'll get started. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. And flag. Kathy, do you have a flag? Kathy has her flag, so if you can stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
United States of
and to the
America,
republic
The republic for which it stands, one nation,
which it stands, nation,
indivisible, with liberty.
and justice for all.
thank you. Okay, so and Dave Horvath is coming in too, good. I believe John Perna said he had a work meeting, and John Menti has something, he may be able to join us in a little bit.
Good.
So we'll just continue on agenda. Next item is public input. So if you have anybody that is going to do public input. Okay. And no correspondence other than what we have connected to our projects. So we'll move into approval of meeting minutes. And I'll make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes from October 12th, 2021 with one change. There was a duplicate, which I had contacted Kathy about. I believe it was an invoice. So we'll just make sure that gets deleted. It was a STV invoice that was put in twice.
I'll second that motion, Nancy.
Okay, so Roy seconds. And does anybody else have any other items from the minutes that they noticed that need to be updated, changed, etc.? We're good? So all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And does anybody have to abstain?
I think I do.
Yeah, Bob has to abstain.
David does as well.
Dave Horvath, oh, that's right. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. All right, so you got that? Oh, yeah, good. So moving into our old business, first item on the school projects, progress report and schedule update, I believe probably will come from Ken.
Okay. So for Johnson, we've completed all the items for Chris and Tom for the certificate of occupancy. The buffer tank leak was repaired and it's going to be re-insulated in the boiler room. The lawn areas for the September 7th plan are progressing and on track for review at the end of November. And Priority has notified us that when the town cut the grass low twice, it will damage the grass. Right now, it's not too bad. It's coming along good. Priority is waiting on the delivery of the 2 replacement trees. The soccer field, we talked to earth movers and they're going to reseed any areas that need reseeding by the end of this week. And the column cover replacement at the main entrance is on order. Acronym does have there's a lead time. It was due in by the end of October, and now the company is telling them not till the end of November. So as soon as it comes in, we'll schedule it and he'll get that done. Okay.
So I have a question, Ken, for
Yes.
Johnson. I drove around, I think it was over the weekend, I drove through and look at some of the landscape situations, which you already mentioned. But I also noticed that the dumpster for the dumpster enclosure, someone bashed into it, something.
Yeah,
true?
the trash truck caught it, and I guess he was straightening up the dumpsters, and then he ended up moving it out and doing a good job on one of the doors.
So does that get repaired by them, maybe? Or do we have to deal with it?
I would think the school would talk to the trash company, and that would be on their insurance.
And Nancy, I did mention it to the driver to have their boss call, but I didn't hear anything for about 2 weeks, so I was gone, but I'll follow
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah, okay. I just happened to notice it. I figured it was something like that. So, so the lawn areas they are coming along, which I saw, they look pretty good, except there are a few areas that look more weedy than grassy. And that was more in the area of Johnson. And then the soccer field, they are gonna reseed it again? Is that what you've got list here? Is that happening soon?
He's gonna do it by the end of the week. He's gonna hit the areas that need to have more seed because there's bare spots. So yes, it is.
Okay, so then we'll just have to see, will they do the same thing that they did, like seed it and then do some watering if they need to, et cetera, if there's not enough rain?
Yes, he'll take care of it.
Okay. Does anybody have Johnson questions for Ken?
Could I ask a question, Nancy?
Yeah,
So what happens, Ken, if they reseed it, it doesn't grow well? What happens then? We have to have them come back out in the spring?
The only time they'd be able to correct it, yes.
what's that noise? Somebody's got to make it stop. Okay. So, like what you said, Ken, in answer to Dr. Carver, was that it doesn't grow enough this fall. We'll have to look at it again in the spring. That's for Ken.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for Ken on Johnson? Or should we move into Rockwell? So whoever has all that background noise needs to mute themselves because we can't do the meeting like that.
Okay. Rockwell. Same thing with the certificate of occupancy. We've completed the items. Earth movers is scheduled for November 11th for the water main tap. The slope in the front was regraded, topsoil added, erosion control mesh and seeded. And that's looking good. The Ferguson is going to get in to do the media center light on November 11th, they told me. And then we got the playground slope drainage. We confirmed that the drainage was installed per plans and specs. And then we just have a timeline down here.
So
Wait,
right now, I think where we are with this is that SLR could do a review of all of this.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna ask to Nancy, the same thing, whether they would look at it and just see that those items have been completed to their satisfaction.
Yeah, so we got the information from Ken. It's been forwarded to SLR. We got an initial email back from Dave that we're going to review and issue a report in the next couple of days.
Okay, good.
So I have just a comment on you say for both Rockwell and Johnson, you've completed all of the lists of outstanding items that both Chris Baldwin and Tom Galliford had given you for the CO, correct?
Yes,
And I saw Chris Baldwin about it was actually late last week when I was at the Municipal Center. And he said he's been working on the paperwork for getting the CO. And I also saw Beth Cavagna, who said that as far as all the site work and et cetera goes, that if we, the Public Site and Building Commission, are good with it, she's good with it. So I guess Chris, obviously I can't tell that to Chris. Chris has got to go to her to get the sign off. So hopefully he's progressing through that paperwork to get sign offs from Laura, Beth, and anybody else he needs them from, because that's what we're looking at. Now, I did see the series of emails today about roof leakage at Rockwell. Is that something that we should take into consideration as far as looking at the CO?
Well, I think so. I didn't have a chance to talk with Bob, so I'd like him to weigh in. But we've had roof leakage at, I'm sorry, I can't even speak. Roof leakage at Rockwell for a while in different parts. And I don't know why it's being pushed back onto the schools and saying pursue it through the warranty. Is that really?
Yeah, that's how they do it. After the warranty's issued, the owner has to call direct, because if it's, if it's found that, it's not a roof, water coming from the roof, then they're gonna end up charging you for coming out. So, but that's normally anyway, that doesn't matter what it is. If you need roof fixed, you're the warranty holder, and that's who they'll come out for. And they're coming out tomorrow, but you got to remember that you had all those solar panels put up on the roof not too long ago.
But Ken, the roof leaked. Am I wrong, Bob?
No, you're right, Dr. Carver. Now we went
Before
from
the solar
4
panels.
leaks. We went 4 leaks. Now we're up to 8.
Right.
Right. And,
So-
and Ken, no, they're not coming out tomorrow. They sent me an email stating they want a contract number. So I have to go do some research tomorrow and see if I can dig that up.
It should be right on the warranty, but okay.
Well, I have a question about that warranty. Why did it start in April?
Right.
That cut my legs off a little bit. I mean, it started in April, the warranty?
2021.
Right. I mean, but you didn't really give us the roofs until midsummer.
No, they were done right then. I think April, this year. Yeah, they were 100%.
Didn't they have to make a bunch of repairs, Geraldine?
They weren't 100%. None of the coping strips are on the outside. None of the edges were finished at all.
Right.
That didn't get finished till 2 months ago, a month ago. I mean, the entire, what I call Hickman Edge there, none of that was completed on Rockwell, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised that it was turned over to us in April, but I don't remember that. And when I read that today at the warranty, I went, oh my God, here's another high school situation where they turn the keys over to us and the warranty is already up.
Now, when that warranty was issued, everything was done. Because
Yeah, I think maybe people are
warranty.
forgetting
And
how
I
much
know
time has
They
passed
were up
here.
there and they inspected it and everything was 100%.
And I think, people are
Done
forgetting
or
how much time has
uncompleted.
passed. We weren't in there during the summer finishing off roof. that kickoff in April is at Johns Manville. They've come out and done an inspection and said, okay, your roof is good to go. So there wasn't any additional roof work going on this summer there. And we can put together a timeline, leading up to April for you to show how we got to there. But there was no roof work at Rockwell this summer.
You might want to take a look at that, Jim, because I'm just trying to glance back through my pictures. So,
Because the warranty kind of certification is done not by the roofer, but by
The manufacturer.
So the manufacturer came out. When did the manufacturer come out and certify the roof? That's what we would want to know, because that should be the date is on the warranty, I would think. Does anybody know?
Yeah, I can get that, I just don't have it right now. I'll get that.
So in the morning, I have to go dig up that contract number. So this way here, they can schedule something to come out.
Well, I thought you, Bob, emailed them the copy of the warranty service request.
No,
That-
I mailed them
They want-
a list of all the leaks. And I went through the process of going to their, you got to call the service center, and I did all that, but I didn't know I had to dig up a contract number. That email came shortly after I got home tonight. So tomorrow morning, I'll go dig that up. Now, I believe it's probably in the warranty book at some point. I'll go look.
So the email that was sent at 2:30 that says my office already spoke to the head custodian, we will be on site tomorrow to inspect it. That's been
Right.
changed.
That's been changed, and I'm trying to pull it up right now, and I'll read it to you.
Because the last I saw was you asking for what was found so you can keep records, and then will do, and that was the last I saw. So there's nothing else after that I have. That was part of. And that was between you, young developers.
Here it goes. It says, Bob, this is from owner's service from JM. It says, Bob, the only guarantee we have for that address, which is Rockwell, expired in 2017. And I think that's what they're talking about, the old service contract I had before the renovation even started. And it says, please provide an active guarantee number so we can process this claim. At this time, JM does not have, it will not be dispatched for any roof repairs for this situation. Please reach out with any questions. So I'll call them tomorrow. This is from Megan Mullen from Owner Services Roofing Services Corp. John's
Okay,
manager.
but Young said he was coming tomorrow, so he has not canceled.
Yeah.
They have to do the
Yeah.
first year's warranty work.
Well,
So-
okay, but what happens if they find out that there's some JM product, then we have to pay for it?
No, you have a warranty. It's just that they're not going to send out somebody when the contractor still has the 1-year warranty to do.
Okay,
So Johns Manville is not going to send somebody out. Young Developers is sending somebody out. Young Developers has the warranty for the coming year. Okay, after that, Johns Manville would have to be contacted with all the warranty information, et cetera. So Young Developers tomorrow. I don't know
Yes.
when, where, who they're supposed to contact when they come, et cetera. You might.
I gave them a
talk with
point of
on-
contact. I also gave him my contact information, and I will get involved.
With young developers, not with Johns Manville.
Whoever's got a bucket of tar in their hands, I'll get involved with them.
Yeah, Young called Anthony, the custodian.
Okay, so, and then, like Bob says, he wants to keep track of anything that's found out, which is why he wants to, because we want to track this, make sure it's not, is it new problems? Is it connected with the installation, et cetera? So we got to find that out.
Yeah, one location, as I indicated to Ken today in an email, one location I believe is an internal roof drain. Because it's leaking on the first floor, but directly above it, it's not leaking at all. So I think it's coming down in a channel in the wall.
So it could be from the roof coming, because the area around the drain on the roof isn't sealed enough, or it could be the drain itself.
No,
Somewhere in the wall.
I think it's a roof drain in between the first and second floor. It's coming down a pipe chase.
How do we figure that out? But they'll have to look at it tomorrow.
That's not my job.
Yep, right. Any other questions for Ken or Jim? So Ken, you do have a couple of things scheduled for November 11th, which is when school's closed. And after that, what are the outstanding things that we're really waiting on other than some landscaping stuff?
The column cover at the front of Johnson.
Yeah.
The backside of one of the column had a piece on the top, and it was on the punch list for the mason, because he owned putting those up. So he ordered a new piece that he's gonna have to come out and install.
And then other than the landscaping, we should be closing in on being done.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else for us or any other questions for Ken or Jim? Okay, can we move along then? I think we have budget review next.
Yes, so I'm going to briefly bring up the tracking budget for each school just to see where we are in terms of completion on payments. So overall on Johnson, we've invoiced an authorized payment on 93% of the projected project cost, and on construction, prior to today's review of the latest Rizzo application for payment, we're at 97%, and again, a little over 1.3 million left on the contingency at Johnson. Similarly, at Rockwell, we're a little bit farther ahead because there's no contingency left to account for. 96% invoiced and paid on the total project, and 98% of construction costs. And we're still carrying the just short of $600,000 in the negative for contingency on Rockwell. And so the combined picture of both schools currently, we're still hovering up just short of $900,000 projected remaining at completion. If we approve the payment of all of the projected liabilities here in the center, again, this month, we are not looking at any PCOs for approval. We expect that work to be finished. We do have some projected bond settlement numbers here. We're probably a little bit before, a little early to know whether any of the bonding companies are going to increase their costs to some of the contractors. And then it's just the typical pending decisions on some other additional fee requests. So we're tracking pretty much the same on both projects combined as we have over the last few months.
So Geraldine, did you say that that projected contingency at completion includes payments being made today, or not payments being made today?
No, it doesn't. Well, on this spreadsheet, it's included in that we are still billing against this contracted construction value and also contracted soft costs. So when we look at both the Rizzo requisition and any invoices, it doesn't affect this contracted cost up here because we're still just paying invoices on what we've already approved as a total committed cost.
Okay. Any questions for Geraldine or Chris?
I just have one thing for Geraldine. Geraldine, I'm not able to find a scissor lift for 10 grand. It's not
Do you
happening.
have another number? I mean, it's
It's a li-
sort of up to the committee for me to carry a different number. I mean,
Yeah, well, the last one I got was like 12. So, but the thing is, it's out of town and the shipping costs would be, again, it'd be higher. So
Yeah.
I gave up around here. There's just no one has anything.
Huh.
Unless I go out of town and then you're dealt with the shipping or transportation costs. So I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to find one.
But if you're saying you have to go out of town, does that mean like you can't get something off the state contract list?
I actually didn't try a state I tried used, the rental companies actually gave me a couple of numbers to try. And, but they were upstate New York or Massachusetts. One was out in Pennsylvania. And then I would have to pay a shipping charge to bring it out. And it's hard to stay within that number range. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
May not be worth it.
But that number came from a little bit of research that I did, and then at one point you said, yeah, that's probably enough. So that number was never tested against an actual quote, I would say. It was
Right.
more of a grabbing a number off the internet kind of a thing. So
Right.
kind of like,
I mean, I can
mean,
get you
clearly-
I can get you an actual written quote, but I'm afraid it's gonna be a little higher than what you're seeing there.
I think you ought to do that, Bob. But are you gonna get a new machine though? Is that correct?
Well, I can get a new one or a certified new.
Yeah.
Gently used or something like that.
Yeah, I would double check that, preferably new, because then you get fresh batteries and everything. But
Right, right.
I'm assuming, because that's the biggest cost of the whole thing, so,
Right. I'll have something for the next meeting.
yeah, it'd be
And-
good.
And again, check the state contract to see if there's
No,
anything.
I will, Nance. Thank you.
Yeah.
I should have done that.
And then we could go on a road trip to pick it up, right?
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, good. So Geraldine, you said we do not have any change orders?
There are no change orders to discuss.
Okay. So then next is professional services, additional service requests. So two parts. First off, the extended services that were presented at the last meeting from STB and for Perkins Eastman have been signed. I picked those up so I can scan and either send them or post them at shared drive or both. So those are good to go. And the first additional services request from Perkins Eastman, and then the one from Rizzo was all that's still in discussion and figuring out and looking at kind of discussion back and forth still happening on that. So does anybody have any questions on those parts? Good. And then invoice. We do have a few invoices in Rizzo application for payment.
Yeah, so with the, so the two Rizzo applications for payment are, were circulated and they are uploaded to the shared drive. So I did upload, or I did for tonight's purposes, I do have the fully certified copies here. The ones that I circulated on Friday were not fully signed. The other thing that I did include here, there's a fairly extensive accounting here in this email from Ken on reconciling the settlement letters back to the final applications for payment from some individual contractors. So if you're interested in the numbers, there's a lot of backup information there. But at Rockwell, we are looking at,
So is that
I'm sorry, at
That's similar to the Verde one that you showed us a couple months ago. not as extensive.
Oh, yeah, so this, yeah, so the original presentation of these applications for payment that normally been presented at the first meeting of the month were not fully clear, not fully accurate. So yes, Rizzo's spent quite a bit of time over the last couple of weeks digging through to find the discrepancies with us and coming up with these final fully vetted numbers, you know, with all the backup now agrees, and Joe was able to sign off and certify these requisitions yesterday. So this number is correct at Johnson. The current payment is for $483,067.90, and on Johnson there remains still a little over $500,000 left to pay out on this contract.
Okay, and then Ken dropped the originals off at the municipal center today, and I was able to have them. So I can, if we approve them, get them off to finance. So I will make a motion that we approve Rizzo application for payment number 31 for Johnson School in the amount of $480,067.90.
Second.
That's a second from Dave Olson, I believe. And are there any questions? All the backup is there on the shared drive, pages and pages if you need to read through it, if you haven't already, but this should be good to go.
And I will add that if you just look at the list of contractors that they included here in the in this list of, these are all the contracts that are, well, primarily they're contracts that are being paid out at 100%. There's a couple left here where we still have some retainage, but in reading through this documentation, you can see who's being paid their retainage, who's getting a final payment on work completed, and all of this list references subcontractor adjustment letters. So as you remember, Rizzo issues a final accounting to each subcontractor of their base contract amount, the owner change orders that have been approved, and any construction contingency change orders that have been paid out. And we went, Joe and I went and made sure that all of those subcontractor adjustment letters reconcile with the numbers in this invoice. And I also created a file in, let's see, where is it? In the Rizzo Company's contract folder on the shared drive, there is a separate file folder here with all of the final contractor settlement letters. So you can go back and see which contractors have actually completed their work and been paid in full. So that's also on the shared drive there.
Great, thanks. Okay, I think we can take a vote on this now. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Good with that one. Then we have one for Rockwell.
Similar process, we attached the email outlining all of the contractors that are being paid in full with their contingency, inserted the certified copy of this invoice. And the only thing I will say is that this balance to finish number here on Rockwell is incorrect. The math doesn't work. I think it's closer to number actually, instead of 1.4 million, the balance owed on Rockwell is actually only 501,000. So that's in error, but the amount being billed, the 337,701.03, is correct. Something that we found afterwards didn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the Rizzo application for payment number 31 for Rockwell School in the amount of $337,701.03.
Second that.
Got a second from Dave and Roy. Any other questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Done. Okay, so then we have two others to do. We've two from STV, two from Perkins Eastman, and one from Lucido. Whatever one you want to put up first.
Start with Lucido. So this invoice for Lucido, there was damage to an outlet in at Rockwell I think it was an outlet in the literacy suite in sort of an office area. There was damage to an outlet. The outlet didn't work. It was unclear at what point this outlet was damaged. But I asked Bob to contract with Lucido to replace it and suggest that the project cover this cost because it's unclear whether it was sort of some heavy damage. So it might have happened either at the end of construction or when furniture was moving in, but it did not kind of rise to our attention until now. And since it's hard to ascertain who is responsible for the damage, I just suggest that the project paid $185.95 to make that repair.
So I'll make a motion to approve the Lucido invoice number 109636 in the amount of $185.95, and that's for the school.
Second.
Which school is it for? Rockwell, sorry, got it. For Rockwell.
Rockwell.
Got a second from Dave. Yep, got a second from Dave. Any other questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. Throw another one up there.
Perkins Extended CA for Johnson.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve Perkins Eastman invoice number 68962.07.0-7 for Johnson Extended Services in the amount of $2,745.
I'll second that.
So that's the second.
I'll second that, Nancy.
Roy. Yep, I got a second from Roy. And that's September, so then the new proposals that were just approved and signed will take over for October.
Mhm.
So we can, this all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Another one for Johnson. Rockwell. We're on Rockwell. So I'll make a
Rockwell.
motion that we approve, yep, Perkins Eastman invoice number 68961.06.0-7, Rockwell Extended Services, month of September in the amount of $1,555.50.
Second.
Second.
Second from Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Done. We've got STV. I'll make a motion that we approve STV invoice number 900222502 of $6,593.50.
I'll second that. I'll second it, Nancy.
Okay, whoever seconded it, got that. Any questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. again, that was for the, March, the month of September. And then the last STV. Make a motion, we approve invoice number 900222503. School STV Extended Services in the amount of $2,548.
Second.
Second from whoever did that.
Oh, aye.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? I think that's it. Geraldine, you said the Action Air ones were gonna go to bed?
Yes, is Terry still on? No.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, she's here.
Oh,
I
Terry-
have them. Do you want me to drop them off?
We already put them on.
Oh, okay, because these were the originals that Kathy left in the mailbox, in the public site mailbox. I don't know. a couple weeks
If you're around, you can drop them off.
Okay. I will be, so I'll drop them off. Okay. So that's it on invoices, and I think that's it on school project, unless anybody else has anything else. We're actually,
Geraldine, I just wanted to mention that Dr. Carver was able to update that column.
Oh,
So,
good. Thank
so
you.
we're gonna move forward. I just have to do the scanning of the documents.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't know what happened, but sometime in the last few months, I don't know if it was their system or my system, couldn't get back in, so.
Yeah.
So to that end, everybody should know Terry is submitting what will probably be the final interim reimbursement request before the final. So yeah, we're moving through that state reimbursement as well.
Good.
so with the state reimbursement, as you've submitted requests, interim requests, have you received payments?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then is there a period of time that you kind of wait before you do the final one? Or do you do it right away?
Well, as soon as we have all of the invoices and all of the numbers in, we will be able to submit that final accounting. It's a matter of understanding that all of the invoices have come in both on the construction side and all of the other soft costs and development costs have been accounted for.
Right.
So we will try to put that together as quickly as possible because that triggers, the submission of that form triggers the timeline that the state takes to audit the project. So that's what really says to them, okay, we're done, come and visit us and look at our records. So we probably are a couple of months away with that though. Just because of the number of outstanding invoices that there are. I mean, the consultants will clean up pretty quickly as soon as we're done. It's more of a matter of when do we get that final application for payment from Rizzo, as soon as they get all of their final stuff from the subcontractors and can reconcile all the contracts. So probably a couple of months away.
Good.
And Nancy, the state does an 11% holdback on what they pay you. And we're bumping up against that. So we
Yeah.
front loaded a lot of our filings so that the town would have the cash flow.
Mhm.
But with this filing, we'll get a payment, but it won't be very big because we're bumping up against that holdback. And you
And
don't
does-
get that, they don't release that money until after audit.
And are they being a little more kind of quick with their audits these days, or are they still years and years?
Our plan is to submit and our plan is to put in a request for a very quick audit. We did, we worked with one of their auditors that he's familiar with Bethel and the processes and all. So we were advised to actually put in a request for him and to tell him sooner might be better than later. Because if there are certain questions, we'd probably have to get Bob K back for some answers and, the sooner they can come, the better off they are with getting accurate information.
Great. Okay. Good. Okay, so I think we're pretty much finished with the school part of today's agenda. And our next meeting is November 9th. So I think we'll keep that on schedule and then at that point decide whether we need to meet again in 2 weeks or whether it would be depending on what's happening and what's still outstanding. In the meantime, if there anything obviously comes up, we've got a way to communicate through email, et cetera.
So Nancy, who should be running around getting all the signatures on the CO?
Chris, that's
Chris
his
should?
job.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
that's his job. So whenever you take out a building permit, and there's the zoning part, the health department part, and the
Okay.
fire marshal, then he has to go around and check in with each of those people to make sure they're good with anything. And, you know, we know that Chris had shoulder surgery. That's been
right.
the thing that he brings up when stuff needs to get done, but he's kind of back in action. So I think he should be, his comment to me was, I'm working on the paperwork.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Yes. So hopefully that'll get moved along pretty quickly. I don't
Good.
know as we need to hold up on anything. I don't know if there's anything outstanding that you can think of, Geraldine, that need to, you know, warranty issues are warranty issues. They shouldn't stop a certificate of occupancy. We should be
Yeah,
able to, within the next year, get warranties taken care of without, you know, the CO should be in place.
And also the site work, the remaining site work that's is still outstanding is also, it's not a permit issue, it's a contract
Right.
issue, you know, so
Right.
any of the issues that we're having with site work corrections doesn't affect getting the CO and then won't affect the certificate of substantial completion that the architect will issue. It really, those site work issues really just come down to the final, you know, at what point is the contract satisfied and can they be paid? So if some of those things end up hanging out until the spring, we're going to have to strategize on how to do that, how to keep the contract open or keep a portion of the contract open or bond separately for those, for the value of that work in order to move along the closing out of the project and the audit. So, you know, it's critical couple of weeks to figure out right now to decide whether the site work is going to be completed now this fall or whether anything's going to have to hang out until the spring, because that'll cause a little bit of complication, you know, to closing out the project.
Because waiting till spring would also, if you're holding back payment, let's say on contracts, then that creates a situation with trying to put your final application into the state.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so done with school stuff now?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
The
you.
rest of you got to stick around.
Yeah.
Good
Take
night.
care,
Good
everybody.
night, Joe, Geraldine, Ken. Jim. Good night. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so a couple other items on our agenda. Police station project. So at the Board of Selectmen meeting last week, the Board of Selectmen formally assigned Public Site and Building Commission to take care of completion of the range. And I don't know if notification on that, but I did listen to a recording of the Board of Selectmen meeting and heard that go through. Now today, actually last Monday, Dino was present with a couple people from Downs doing the final water test, which they tested the several areas and had great results. However, I got a text message and emails today from Chief Pugner with some issues. So show you photos, and if you want to see them, they're not big and huge. There's just a couple of spots, and a couple of them, if Kathy makes me co-host, I might be able to get to them. Let me see.
Were they on the back wall?
Actually, so the video that Chief sent, getting to it. And I have to screen share first, but let me, so. It's hard to tell which walls because he was taking photos first and then he basically said, heavy rain today, overall looks good, but still a few spots that we need fixed. So let me go back to the Zoom, hang on. Where'd we go? There we are. And then now I have to find out how I can screen share because I made this little.
So we'll get a natural test today.
Oh,
I was gonna say, it's
been
gotta have a-
naturally tested. It's been naturally tested all day today. Share screen. And then I'm going to go to download. I'm gonna go to. Hang on just a second.
We didn't get quite the amount of rainfall today that we did a couple of weeks ago, but we did get a good amount.
Well, so after September, whenever Ida was September 1st, I think it was, and we had the, bear with me while I try to do this while I'm talking. After Storm Ida, we had that test scheduled for September 2nd. And we didn't really need to do the test because there it was right in front of us where there were specific issues. And that was all taken into account and came up with answers for trying to share from my email because that's where the photos are. I'm gonna have to download them, I think. Some of them look like, unfortunately, they're sort of like up at the roof line, like where the roof and the wall come together. And if that's the case, is it a roof issue? Because we were never really looking at roof issues.
Did they look at it from outside to make sure it wasn't the gutters backing up again?
No, because this was sent to me kind of at the end of the day and I didn't have time to get over there before dark. So, I mean, it's going to rain kind of throughout the night and I may try to get over there tomorrow if I can, late morning. Because if it's, I don't want it to dry up. Just bear with me. I've got, I think I have most of them now. So, back here. And that big. I don't do this all the time like Geraldine does. So. All right, so here's, you see it? I don't know if you can see it or not. That's Pugner walking around. See how it's coming? It's Chief Pugner walking around with his phone.
I just see your box, your inbox there, your download.
Oh, you don't see, because
I
I'm
don't see the
playing
video.
all right, I'm playing the video, so let me go back and see. Get rid of it. I'm screen sharing and sorry. Because I had downloaded all of them onto my inbox. So I'm screen sharing again. You see the box.
Well, we see your cursor on the okay, image.
Well, I see the video, you don't. I'm sorry,
That's correct.
that, oh well. So there was, let me try a photo this time and see if I can get that up there.
Hey, Nancy, minimize that where you're clicking on that screen right there. You might be behind that screen with everything else.
Okay, so I just minimized it and I got a photo up, but I can see it, you can't, right?
No,
Oh, wait, no,
correct.
here we go.
You have one screen, right?
Yeah, let me start again here.
That's weird. Oh, there we go. Now you got it.
Yeah, that came in from my email, so I'll see if I can do a few others. So that's kind of in the sort of upper part of the wall, but in the middle. But then there's another one. See how this is coming down? This is the second one coming down. This is the roof line. If you see my little cursor there,
Yep.
that's from the roof line down to about midway. And then this photo is again, roof line coming down. And then here's the video. Let's see if we can get that one going. I don't know if it'll play or not.
It's interesting. Some of them show up in the middle of the wall, which makes me think that there's still a leak in the wall somewhere. This week,
Right.
out.
Here, I see the video playing. You probably don't.
Scroll down. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I'll stop that for now. Well, at the end of the day today, and I see if someone would go in kind of late afternoon when Chief Bugner sent those, and he sent them in text, and then he sent some email Downs and to Brian Humes, because actually yesterday, so Dino was at the last water test, and a couple of the water tests, Rich Straighten was there, and at one point Paul Zakowski came by. So the Board of Selectmen has been following because they want to make sure that this is all resolved before we go forward. So once they did the water test and we felt things were resolved, I was asked to have, because there have been emails, and every time I get emails from both Downs and Jakunski Humes saying, we did this and this, et cetera, I forward them to all of you. The Board of Selectmen wanted kind of like official reports on both Downs company letterhead and Jakunski Humes company letterhead saying, we did this, we're done. So I asked for that this morning, and I got something from Brian Humes this afternoon. I haven't read it yet because I got that video and said, okay, the report that they give be kind of null in a way, because we've got to do something about, obviously, as Chief Pugner said in his email to me, and I'll forward all that with the photos and the video, that with the kind of rain that we had, and we're supposed to get wind tonight too, driving rain, so like 90% better than it had been. But we still leak places, and we can't consider, outfitting the building with those leaks. So I'm going to have to see what I get, and I have not gotten a reply yet from either Brian Hume or John Fraley, who's the one from Downs, who's been following all of this and making sure all the work gets done. And as somebody asked, did anybody get up and check the gutters? I'm sure no one went on the roof today, but we may need to do that, since there was a lot of leaf debris in the gutters that was causing the problem back in the beginning of September as to the overflow and why the back wall leaked in that one spot. So leaves are blowing around, stuff's getting stuck on roofs, stuff's getting stuck in gutters as a possibility. But again, we'll have to check that.
Yeah, that wouldn't explain that one that's mid-wall though.
No,
Right.
definitely not. Unless it's coming, I mean, if it was on the back wall, that would make sense because of the gutter. It's on the front wall, on the side wall, it wouldn't explain it, no.
Yeah,
So,
it's weird.
if it was coming down, you know, if it leaked like it did before through where the gutter connection is, because of the overflow and the amount of rain down, and it got into the hollow part of the wall, went down and leaked out somewhere. I mean, you would see, I would think we did see that, or at least the photo showed, and I was there when we were there on September 1st. It came down the entire wall, from the top all the way down to the bottom. It wasn't like it popped out somewhere. So I have no idea how their, both Downs and Chikunsky Humes will come up with ideas of how do you, if you've coated the entire wall and it's got 3 coats on it, you know, where are you gonna, I don't think you're gonna find a spot that they missed or something. So what's going on? So figure that out. So another question that was asked of me from finance, because they have been looking at the budget for the project and how much funding is left, which we won't know till we get a final application for payment from Downs. So we have to wait on that and see how much was left in the contingency, in the construction manager contingency. The owner's contingency, we know, was gone early in the project because of the stuff that was buried in the ground that we had to dig up and take care of. So I'm not, you know, obviously we can't take any steps forward. We can continue to look at making plans for, get the plans complete. Not sure if it would be prudent to put an RFP out to find a contractor to do the work without a time frame. And I don't think we'd have a time frame for doing the work until we get the leak problems situated. So, you know, when you were out there on Monday with them, were there specific areas? I mean, you had given us a report on the areas that you just had, what, 45 minutes and sprayed water.
Yeah, primarily they focused on, what would that be? The, I guess the east wall, the back wall is the east wall.
Right.
And they did mostly the north half of that wall, because that's where the markings were on the inside that indicated where the leaks were.
Right.
So they did a lot of that area,
Nothing came.
for like 40, 45 minutes. And we also, because they had redone the joint on the west wall, the front wall, down at the bottom.
Right.
We went through and did that entire wall from the door all the way to the south edge of the wall. And
right. And then they had nothing. Yeah. And they had put that control joint in the front wall too. And so that, I don't know if they did that well up and down, because that
no,
was
on the
cut in.
front wall, we just did the bottom.
Okay. Well, that's another thing I want to see if I can check tomorrow is the bottom edges from the front and then all the way around to make sure that there's nothing infiltrating there. Because again, we can continue to make plans, come up with some specs, plans, et cetera, and possibly some numbers on costs. We can't really start putting things out there until we have the inside of the building completely dry and ready to go. We have some dates to put out there for when the project will be done. So I'll have to follow up with Downs and Chikunsky Humes about the photos and the video that Chief Hugner sent, so we can get some reply from them and ask them, where do we go from?
Is it ever time to default them and hire a contractor that they would reimburse? Another contractor?
Say that again?
Default them. Default Downs. Hire a new contractor to come evaluate that situation and fix it, and then bill Downs for that cost.
Well, that's
probably a lawsuit.
That's basically what was done, not a contractor, but we had a forensic architectural firm do the, Hoffman did the report, came over and they did the whole, checked the whole, looked at the plan, not only the plans, but came to the site, checked everything inside and out, up and down, the roof, etc. Their report. And then the Masons got a report, kind of a masonry, independent masonry group, because there was some stuff in the Hoffman report that made it sound like the masonry of the block, ordering, etc., was possibly not done correctly. And then that was refuted by this masonry group, because the original Hoffman plan was pretty much gouging out pretty much every mortar joint and remortaring it, which would have been a lot of work because it wasn't conclusive that the issue, and because some of those cracks were the cracks in the mortar were kind of hairline cracks, when they came up with the idea of coating the entire building in elastomeric coating, which would have both filled and covered line cracks, 1 coat of primer, 2 coats of finish, so 3 coats. And then we did our own survey and report. The Becht group that was hired came up with the same conclusion kind of as what Hoffman had put forward, was the crack. So create a control joint there, remortar and caulk that, recaulk along the roof, do and have the masons, which the masons did, do a couple of repairs, some of the repairs. So that's kind of along the lines of what you were saying, Dave.
Well,
I'm thinking, but if you have,
all of that effort goes to helping Downs solve their problem. Now, it's not obvious to me that they've solved the problem yet. It's
right,
not obvious that they are paying enough attention to the problem to actually solve it. I mean, we think about this in terms of the calendar time that's gone by since the building was leaking. It's a year or more.
no, it's more than a year. They moved in 2018, and we
Yeah.
started.
Time goes by faster than having a good
18.
time.
Yeah. But so
Yes.
if the town were to hire somebody, a contractor, or even a kind of construction build team to come in and do whatever they think was needed to fix it, there's no guarantees in billing Downs back that they would pay for it.
Well, we'd have to sue them first, I suppose.
Right, and I guess it would depend on the amount that you would be suing for as to whether it would be worth paying somebody to do that.
Well, you wouldn't
That's
hire
a-
anybody
that's
until you got a quote, and you presented the quote to
Right.
Downs. and said, here, you guys can't do this.
Right.
So we're gonna hire someone who can.
Mhm.
Maybe we can.
Right. It's something we can look into. We'd have to look, and then I guess we could go back and check with, because they did have, the report came out of the town wanting to have our own independent survey of the building and not rely on Downs's people or the Masons people, have our own. But they did then concur with, here we are. They concurred, we did all the stuff. We still have some leaks. So what's going on? Where's it coming from? Getting in there.
Maybe Roy has an idea. Roy, how can we replace Downs on this project?
It's, I don't know. I think we got to play it out a little farther. I don't think Downs has been all that bad. It's just, I don't know.
As construction managers, I don't think Downs has been all that bad. If it's the masons, if it's the product,
Yeah.
the actual block, they've got this certification that says the block has been approved. They've got a test and certification that says the mortar is the waterproof mix that's supposed to be. In watching,
Some of it, I really think, comes back to the original design. And, there's that finger pointing back and forth. I
yeah.
think that in general, Downs performed their work. I think, you know, the fact of the matter is a split face block. It's just not a good product for outside use, for water. It's a common problem with the water getting wicked in.
Yeah.
So, I just think that some of the items, that Chomsky designed were really, and, it's not insulated. It's not, it's really just an outside storage shed. But the fact of the matter is we're going to be using this for a shooting range, real use.
Yeah.
So I really question the original design as far as that goes.
And
They
I
pointed
gotta
out-
agree with Dina on that, because that was still, I'm going back to that, the one time that I showed up there and the guy said, basically it's designed to be like a target. It's
Yeah.
designed to leak.
Yeah,
And,
no, you're exactly right.
and that
It's
still
just-
blows my mind to this day.
I know, and it, even the way, Brian just seems to think that it's kind of like a temporary structure,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way Brian seems to treat this. And that's what he designed,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
They do
that's-
point out buildings like Target or Costco, which are, split face, single wide, coating on the outside and a coating on the inside, and
Yeah,
that's it.
Their code.
Do they leak?
probably.
They probably do leak.
Yeah.
They probably do leak, yes.
Eventually they do. I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
waterproof them and, and the problem is too, Dave, is that they never sealed the building to start with. I mean, it should have had either the sealant or a paint on it. And I think that would have taken care of 90% of the complaints to start with. I don't think we'd be where we are right now if it had been handled right at the beginning.
No argument, no argument at all.
So it's kind of an awkward spot, and I don't necessarily put all the blame on Downs. I think they're doing what they have to do to document it, but it's just an ever chasing our tail situation with Brian.
Well, to your point, they built what was given them to build.
Yeah. Yeah, and
It was a poor product.
And we accept the drawings. And
yeah. Well,
go
I mean, a little bit to our defense, Nancy, I mean, these guys are professional architects. And
I agree.
I mean, I'm a little offended when, and I'm gonna say that they expect us to review every detail of what it is. And I don't buy that. That's why we're paying, $1.5 million to Brian to do it right. So, I just don't buy that.
And I would agree with you 110%, because I'm not gonna say that I would have caught that. I'm not gonna say that anyone would have. That's
Yeah.
why
And
we
that would have been okay if the soffits hung over the building 2 or 3 feet. It
Yeah.
probably would have been fine. So, I mean, there's a lot of little minor changes that could have been made, that maybe would have made all the difference in the world.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is what they've said. I'm not defending, I'm just saying that what they've said in the past when we've brought this up of you approve the plans, you approve the way the
Yeah.
building would be built, meaning us. So,
Yeah. I know,
You know,
I hear you.
again, we're going with them being the experts and thinking they've got all the answers, and we're gonna ask them for some more answers. We're gonna have to put this stuff forward, ask them for some more answers.
I agree with you.
I think we are getting there, it's just a painful process.
It is.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like I said, if I can get up there. Go ahead, David.
I'm not putting any pressure or blame on anyone on this committee, because from what I've seen, everybody's stepped up and done the right thing and has tried to do the right thing. And we did it, and you know what? We got a crappy product in the end. It's something we have to figure out. The best we can.
Yep. So again, we can see about getting, I know Chief Pugner had talked about having I talked to him actually after our last meeting when we were talking about the costs that they had put together about a year or so ago and looking at completing the range. And we were questioning whether the costs included the info from Action Target and the specs, et cetera, for just the materials or the installation. And he confirmed that Action Target does come out and do the installation. Provide, there was a whole, that was what Lieutenant Libertini was working on,
Correct.
was getting all that information together so that we had something to start to work on. And they still have that information, just the costs probably have to get, well, the costs definitely have to get updated, but Action Target not only provided, all the materials, et cetera, but they came, which is why we had to leave that hole at the end of the wall for them to get in with a forklift and lift all the stuff up on the ceiling, put all the stuff in place up high and down low. And then there would be whether a general contractor or construction manager who would bring in subs to complete all the other parts. So some electrical, plumbing, whatever, in the ready room before you get into the shooting range, et cetera. So he confirmed, he just kind of had listened to our meeting because he wasn't able to attend the meeting, and then called me to make sure that we understood that, they do have plans, they do have, which were
Yep.
old, they're gonna have to, not old, but they need to get updated as much as possible. And then they had some costs put together that we're gonna have to look at too and see if they need to get upgraded.
Hey, Nancy, on that, and I thought that Action was also going to do the full HVAC system.
Right, see, that, again, we'll have to check on that.
Yeah,
The HVAC system for the range, because there's certain ventilation that needs to
Yep.
happen. And I don't know if that also includes the back room, a couple of back rooms that need to get
Yeah,
finished off.
that, correct. That I don't recall it being part of that, but I thought I thought the quote they got, because that's where we got into, I'm not gonna say a battle, but that's where we got into discussion as far as, how the air was handled per se.
Right,
And,
right.
you know, kind of the standard that we were getting to, I thought from Officer Libertini was, this was a very good system that they had. So
Right.
that's
Yeah,
that's
'cause
why
there's-
I thought it just wasn't the
'Cause there's air
original
venting.
design. Yeah, as per Brian Humes's design, which was, way above and beyond, that the cost of the HVAC was going to be as much as the range itself.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
because the air exchange or air venting that needs to
Right.
happen while they're using specific
yeah,
range for shooting, it's got to be a certain amount and it has to happen in a certain way. You can't just put anything in there. So I think Action Target was the one that was part of putting that together.
that's what I thought also, Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, I
Right.
think based upon that, and, maybe things have changed, but based upon those conversations of years ago, I thought that the Target people were very well versed in putting together a pro system,
Yes.
a complete pro package. And
Yep.
it somewhat kept us out of, designing, being a designer per se, and even hiring people like Brian, who's really not a designer on HVAC systems for ranges. I thought that those guys seemed to know their product totally.
Right. I think Brian would bring in a consultant to do
Yeah.
an adequate job, or even,
Well, I
complete
think that's where we're
range.
getting to the gold plated standard, because none of these guys really did it for their work. And they all just
right,
assume the worst or the best, whichever we want to call it. And
right.
they made a gold plated standard, and it was cost prohibitive. And I think that was a little bit what kind of tanked the whole project.
Mhm.
I mean, it just got so cost prohibitive for where we were going.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
So
really
I will
like
see
to-
what I can, go ahead.
I'd like to see them, complete the project for sure. And I'd love to see if we could get one vendor, people that do this all the time and do it all over the country that know the product, and see if we can get a complete package, not individually, designing it with Kohler Ronin and what have you locally. I don't think that's the right way we should do this.
No,
Well,
I agree. They should just,
so,
they know what they're doing.
right, the
Correct.
target. Yes, the target parts and all that need to be done by Action Target, but we also need to find out if
Right.
have, needs for electrical plugs to be installed.
Absolutely.
Plugs, or are we bringing somebody else in to do that?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get ourselves a complete project with, people that do this,
Right.
as normal work. So
Right, right.
not individually, because I didn't see that turning out well for us before.
Nope, no,
What they would get, Roy, is a clean, dry, big enough space. Right, and they would fill it.
yeah,
Correct. Right, Dave. That's just it. And I actually think, a lot of things kind of came to a halt at the last time. And I think Officer Libertini really took it and ran with that. And he kind of found some of these other people, other vendors that were doing it with their police stations in the area. So I think their company was pretty hot.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, this was coming from the police, the police people, not even from our design.
Right.
I mean, we already had kind of a gold-plated standard that just wasn't gonna fly.
yeah.
So,
Well, I'll keep you posted on what I hear from both Downs and Jakunski Humes on the current leaking, and what do we need to do about it, and what we can, I don't know how we find all that. I mean, like I said, I'll go up there tomorrow and see what I can see as far as What?
okay, good.
sent along, and then I can send I'll actually send the video to you guys tonight. And then we'll go from there, because like I said, I'm not putting something out on an RFP when we've got walls that still leak. And
Never ending.
right. And then on the municipal center renovation, I had mentioned maybe a couple months ago that Eileen Earl had talked about this group called Gordian, who they're a project management company, but they're part of, talking about the state contract list. I think they're kind of hooked into the state contract list, and they can come in and do projects by getting both the materials and the installers off the state contract list. So I guess without having to go out to bid, not sure, but they're checking into it, and have both Brad Hearing from finance and Eileen have had conversations with the Gordian people, and they're looking to come up with some cost ideas. And this is, Roy, why we postponed the meeting with Peter Eckert.
Yep.
Because this Gordian group is doing it all through the state contract list, then we don't want to be duplicating the work if, we don't want Peter sort of sitting there and drawing drawings when someone else is going to do it.
Right.
I'm kind of skeptical still about it a little, just because it doesn't sound complete to me, but they're still kind of checking it all out before moving forward with it. And it may be because it's part of these, the grant funding that the town has received, that they may be able to go through the state contract list and do it that way. It could very well be, but I'm not sure. So that's where we are with that. They're going to supposedly get some info together, and I guess they'll hopefully let us know, because if they want us to do something. I had asked Matt Knickerbocker, I said, we've got the police station project, the firing range and the municipal center renovations, and how do we move forward? And he said, well, just move forward as much as you can. And so for us, as far as the municipal center or locker rooms, I think we have to wait and find out what comes out of this Gordian group. the other thing the town is looking at doing is, they're in the process of putting out an RFQ for project management, a project management company that could, when needed, advise the town and work with the town on being like an owner's rep / project manager, kind of like Geraldine and her team are doing for the school project. So if the town came up with a project, here's this, rather than having someone on staff, because I don't know the town is big enough. Some towns, larger towns and cities have a staff person or a whole department that does this. We as a town probably don't need anything that large right now, but having someone that can be used per project as each project comes up would be a good thing.
I agree.
So we might have to wait until that gets put in place before we do the next steps, but I'm not sure. I'll have to find out. So like I said, with the police station, I'll kind of forward some stuff I have, and then when I get more information from either Downs or Brian Humes or both, I will forward that to you guys also.
Good.
So I think that, and I think Dave Olson's idea of somebody to come in and say, this is due, fix it, get it done, and then bill it back is great, but I don't know if we can. We probably should, we don't have the authorization in a way to go and hire somebody to find a contract. It's have to go through channels to get that.
No, but in general, I think if you default someone on a contract, then they have to pay for the replacement work to be done.
But to default,
you have to go to court in order to get the default.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's a
default
process.
you would pay.
Yeah, but we already tried that. It's like the town doesn't really seem to be very interested in pursuing it from a legal standpoint.
and I think part of that is the cost to do it and what cost you might get out of it. So, you know, if it
Oh,
was
without a doubt.
yeah, if it was a couple $1 million that we would get out of it by spending 100,000, that'd be different than getting 100,000 out of it and spending 100,000. So, but again, they may have to relook at it since we've come up with these new issues. Next time we're going to do a water test with a fire hose. I don't. at that point.
4,000 PSI.
This weather has been like a fire hose lately.
I know.
Lots of rectangular buildings with roofs are built every day that don't leak.
Correct. We have a
Yeah.
lot of them.
All of our houses being some of them.
You're right.
Oh, right. They're built with
Yep.
a few extra layers of things that firing range doesn't have right now.
But that still boggles my mind that
Yeah. Yep.
So that's it.
All right. So
Where's Mitch
I
when
like.
you need him?
I know, where's John meant to call the meeting to a close, so forward stuff and keep you posted.
oh wait, he just texted me, said call the meeting.
Everybody good? Can we motion
Thank
to
you.
adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion,
Motion
thank
to
you.
adjourn, second,
Good
all in
night, everyone.
favor, yay. Thank you
Thanks,
very
everyone.
much.
Take care, everybody. God
Bye.
bless.
Don't forget to vote next week.
Right.
Yeah. Bye-bye.